Hello. The following are examples of how to use the square root property. The square root property says if x squared is equal to a, then x is equal to plus or minus the square root of a. Let's look at letter A. X squared equals 17. That's in this form immediately. So I can go ahead and apply the square root property. That means that x is equal to plus or minus the square root of 17. Because the square root of 17 cannot simplify, I'm done. Letter B. X squared equals negative 25. Again, it's in this form. Apply the square root property that gives me x equals plus or minus the square root of negative 25. I need to simplify the square root of negative 25. In order to do that, you need to remember that whenever you have a square root of a negative, you get an I. And the square root of whatever's left, square root of 25 is 5. So it's plus or minus 5i. When you get imaginaries, make sure you put it in standard form. Letter C is a little bit different, but not much. Notice this entire thing is being squared equals a number. So I'm going to go ahead and use the square root property on this. That gives me that entire thing, x minus 4, is equal to plus or minus the square root of 12. 12 is the same thing as 4 times 3, if you need to use the factor tree. So whenever I simplify that, that gives me x minus 4 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 4, which is 2, times the square root of 3, which, well, stays the square root of 3. Then you add 4 to both sides. So x equals positive 4, I added 4, plus or minus 2 times the square root of 3, or 4 plus or minus 2 square root of 3. Notice that for all three parts here, A, B, and C, each one of them has 2 solutions each. When you type this in for MyMathLab, make sure whenever you do your curly brackets, it's negative square root of 17 and positive square root of 17. MyMathLab does not have a plus or minus button. Same thing here. You would have a negative 5i and a positive 5i. Same thing here. This would be 4 minus 2 square root of 3 and 4 plus 2 square root of 3. Just a bit of a helpful hint for MyMathLab.